The enforcement aspect. If you have a child under the age of 18 years old and they get a speeding ticket, and it's a substantial speeding ticket, over 15 miles an hour over the speed limit, we are going to be meeting with the referee in Santa Monica. Many of you probably have already been to the Santa Monica court with your minor and met the referee there. And we are going to making the recommendation to him that he does exercise his right and have those, for speeding purposes, have your kid's license suspended for a period of time. Now, many of you are going to say that is going to be more of a punishment to me as a parent because now I'm going to have to take them here or there. But we're being very serious about speeding. And it's maybe not that speeding that we find ourselves in trouble with our kids. It's the excessive speeding. But there has to be uniform enforcement of this. There's not going to be any excuses. If your speedometer's broken and you have a legal defense, we encourage you to do whatever you need to do. But we're going to be taking all prisoners in that regard. In the area of programming, the City Attorney's Office has already been contacted by Pali High. I've contacted a few of the schools in the area, and we're going to be doing some interactive programming. This is programming that we'd like the parents to be involved in as well. There are some programs, I'm not going to go through all of them. One of them is called Every 15 Minutes. Another one is bringing people down to talk to your kids and doing some scared straight kinds of programming. Does it work? I don't know if it works. What we know is that enforcement plus education are factors to make our community more safe. We all spend a lot of time and effort trying to educate our children. I think we all would agree that's an important element. This is another avenue that we need to utilize. And we are going to incorporate the teenagers and those young adults who have been involved in this behavior, those kids that are on MySpace talking about their crews that they were involved in or continue, to be involved in racing. And the culture that our society now has in encouraging these, like Fast and Furious 3 is about to come out. That's a movie that basically glorifies speed racing in a way that our culture has incorporated. I hope none of you are the directors or the producers of that, but if you are, shame on you, really, because it really glorifies that particular aspect, and our kids, we all know, really want to fit into that. I encourage you to look at the MySpace stuff, the conversation that's going around about Nick, the conversation that went around about Travis and the other kids that we've lost in our community. It's they constantly, if you go to the sites where the crashes occurred, these are ongoing memorials to these kids. But the behavior has to be reminded. We can't forget. We have to keep going over these things. So the education will be ongoing in the schools, in your religious organizations, in your community groups. I encourage you to email me, let me know what you think you need. We don't have all the answers. We just want to be providing the opportunities. What else? The CHP has a program that we're going to be dealing with as well and looking at and seeing. I'm going to be working with LAPD, our senior lead officers, our West traffic officers, our captains, to help make this neighborhood, your neighborhood, and all the other schools safer. So I encourage you. My email address for those of you who wanted it, it is Susan, S-U-S-A-N, .Strick, that's S-T-R-I-C-K, at lacity.org, and I will get back to you. I'll get a response to you going, and I look forward to hear what you have to say. But please be diligent. The last thing I want to say is more on a personal note. I mentioned that I had a 17-year-old senior who was doing activity around the school that was in a car, wasn't racing at that particular moment, although he's assured me that he had been involved in racing over the years, unfortunately. Lucky for him, he didn't get hurt. But there was behavior involving drugs and always alcohol with these kids. And so what we did was, in addition to him losing some other privileges, we took his car and his car was donated. He no longer had driving privileges for 9 months, most of his senior year. It was a drag. We had to drive him from all the way over at Pico and La Cienega all the way to Santa Monica several times a day for his activities. But you know what? If you don't behave, driving again, I repeat, this is a privilege. It's not a right. The other thing that we notice when we go to these schools is that the parking lots are filled with high-performance vehicles. You give a 16-year-old or 17-year-old a high-performance vehicle, and the kids all pile in those vehicles. And I know we had this conversation at one of our parents' groups about what kinds of cars a 16-year-old should get, and we don't legislate parenting skills. Maybe we should, but we don't. And it should not be one of these fast vehicles. These vehicles are deadly weapons. So I encourage you, they drive the kid. The kid does not have control of these cars. So I encourage you to rethink these. Is your kid not going to like you? Well, that's not your job. Your job is to be their parent, not their friend. So in going forward with those of you who have driving age children or are soon to have driving age children or have lost driving age children, I really encourage us to work together and really rethink these things.